Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel SomeSugarSomeSpice. I am Simi and this video is my part 2 for exploring Egypt. If you haven't seen my part 1 where I have covered Cairo and all the experiences and places you must visit there, then you can check that video from the description below. For this part, I will be covering Luxor and Sharm el-Sheikh. So let's get started.
Luxor, the city of 100 doors and the home of ancient Thebes, is considered to be the globe's greatest open-air museum due to the presence of magnificent temples and the Valley of the Kings and Queens. In this video, I will share with you the most iconic places and experiences which you must cover while in Luxor. The first place in my list to explore Luxor is the Karnak Temple. Located on the east bank of the Nile River, this cult temple was dedicated to the Egyptian gods Amun, Mut and Khonsu. It's the largest building ever constructed for religious purposes. Karnak Temple complex has a number of temples, chapels and other buildings in the form of a village, and that's why the name Karnak, which in Arabic means fortified village. The 54,000 square feet hypostyle hall consisting around 134 columns is large enough to fit the Cathedral of Notre Dame, Paris. This complex also has a lake which was surrounded by storerooms and living quarters. This complete temple and the complex is surely a magnificent sight to watch. These avenue of Sphinx once connected the Karnak Temple to the Luxor Temple, which we will cover next in this video. The next site on the list is the Luxor Temple. The Luxor Temple was built by Amenhotep III but completed by Tutankhamun and added to by Ramses II. Located around 3 kilometers to the south of the Karnak Temple, it was once linked to it in the processional way bordered by the sphinxes during each annual Obit festival. This temple was not devoted to any god. Instead, it was dedicated to the coronation of new kingship. It has served as a ceremonial place for most pharaohs of Egypt who received crowns. Now during the Christian era, this temple's hypostyle hall was converted into a church, and the remains of another Coptic church can also be seen towards its west. At the main entrance of the temple, there were supposed to be two pillars known as obelisk, one of which now stands in Paris. The third place on this list is the Valley of the Kings and Queens. The ancient Egyptians built massive public monuments to their pharaohs, but they also spent time and treasure creating hidden underground mausoleums. And the most famous collection of such elaborate tombs lies in the Valley of the Kings, which is situated on the Nile River's west bank in Luxor. There are around 63 tombs discovered so far, and the ones which you must see are the tombs of Ramses IV, Tutankhamun and Merenptah. These tombs showcases elaborate preparations for the next world, in which humans were promised continuing life and pharaohs were expected to become one with the gods. Mummification was used to preserve the body so that the deceased soul would be able to reanimate it in the afterlife. These underground tombs were also well stocked with all the material goods a ruler might need in the next world. Treasures like the golden mask were also found with the King Tutankhamun. In fact, you can see all this golden jewelry and golden mask in the Egyptian Museum located in Cairo, which I have already covered in my first part of the Egyptian series. It is said that the excavation or digging of the tomb used to get started as soon as a ruler began to rule, and the longer the king has ruled, the deeper the tomb will be and the more decorated it will be. Tomb robbers, treasure hunters and archaeologists have been combing the Valley of the Kings for centuries, yet it continues to yield surprises. During the November of 1922, Howard Carter and his fellow archaeologist Lord Carnarvon discovered the interior chambers of the tomb of the king Tutankhamun and found them to be miraculously intact. They began a monumental excavation process in which Carter carefully explored the four-room tomb over several years, uncovering an incredible collection of several thousand objects. The most splendid architectural find was a stone sarcophagus containing 3 coffins nested within each other. Inside the final coffin, which was made out of solid gold, was the mummy of the boy king Tutankhamun, preserved more than 3,000 years ago. Most of these treasures are now housed in the Cairo Museum. After visiting the Valley of Kings, you can visit the Valley of the Queens and see the tomb of the Queen Nefertiti. But one site which you must not miss is the Temple of the Queen Hatshepsut. This temple is located in the Upper Egypt beneath the cliffs of the Deir al-Barari on the west bank of the Nile River. This temple tells the tales of the successful pharaoh, her impact on Egypt, and how her legacy survived a sustained attempt to erase it. The mortuary temple of Hatshepsut was commissioned by the queen herself, one of the first female pharaohs in the history of ancient Egypt. This desert tomb near the Valley of the Queens was one of my favorite places in Luxor. The backdrop of the steep rock canyon just makes it such an epic sight to behold, and everything here has been so wonderfully excavated and preserved. The next thing in my list is the hot air balloon ride experience in Luxor. You can check the description box on more details from where you can book this hot air balloon ride. But I must tell you, the early morning balloon ride over the Nile River and overlooking the Valley of Kings and Queens was a surreal experience. We were picked around 5 in the morning, and there was a ferry ride to take us from the east bank towards the west bank where the hot air balloon rides were happening. But seeing all these balloons over the Nile River in the early morning was really something very amusing. This was something very unusual about Luxor. We could see so much greenery on one side, and just next to it there was desert filled with the Valley of the Kings. The hotel pickup and drop was included, and the complete balloon flight ride was around 30 minutes. So in a total of 3 to 3.5 hours, we were back to our hotel room and ready for the day to explore the other places in Luxor. If you want to know which is the best place to stay in Luxor, you can check my video from the description. And finally, when the balloon landed safely on the ground, these people who were organizing it, they had a lot of nice celebration with everyone there. I hope you really liked this video and got some inspiration to explore Egypt and Luxor especially. But there is still one more activity which you cannot miss in Luxor, and that is a felucca ride. For that, you can check out my other video from the description, and I will see you in my next one. Till then, take care. Thank you. Bye bye.